You know, once you see this next cake, you will want to volunteer to host the next shower just so you can try it out. It's whimsical, yet it's elegant, and it is truly what I would call a multi-purpose cake because it crosses over so many, Nancy. You could do what, a garden party, a shower, a baby shower.
A
fundraiser, Easter. I could see this for a bridal shower, for a luncheon for your bridesmaids, and include the invitation. Friends are like flowers. You need a garden full or something like that because it does, the flowers make it.
It's just refreshing. It serves about 40, but some people may go, I don't know, it's a tiered cake. I don't know if I can do it, but you know what? But if you break it down into steps, it's really quite simple.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to start with the flowers, right? And you have fondant?
I have fondant, and fondant's like edible modeling clay. And you roll it out like a pastry crust or sugar cookie dough. Now this is
with a roller.
With a roller. Now this smaller roller actually has O-rings, we call them, on the side, so that it measures it down to about
just the right
about an eighth of an inch. You can do a fourth to an eighth of an inch. Then we have some flowers here, and these are just basically small cookie cutters, and you cut out your flowers. Now you notice I twisted because that way it makes it easier, to get them out.
Right.
And then if they don't come out right away, you can just slide a spatula underneath and pull them out. If you have some rough edges, you can kind of tuck them in with your finger.
And you have a tool to actually shape them, right?
I have a tool to shape them. I'm going to shape the smaller one. This is called a dog bone tool, and by putting it on a sponge and just rolling it like that, you can see that the petals get thinner.
And they're taking shape,
and they're beginning to
up.
take shape, and they're curling up. And then you can do one in the center, and that actually brings it up to a shape like this one here.
And you use the fondant to roll out the centerpiece also?
Just like modeling clay. And if the fondant's moist, fondant will stick to fondant, but if you forget to do your centers or you want to do them a little bit later on, just press it in there.
And those will set up right ahead of time. You can do all that ahead of time so you're not so overwhelmed the day of.
And you want to do it ahead of time because you want them to be dry so that you can attach them together. Now, if you forgot to put your center in there, you could use royal icing, which is your icing that has meringue powder in it, and it dries hard to actually do your center dot. But what we're going to do is we're going to use this royal icing as glue, and we're just going to squeeze some on there. And then you would want to let that dry so that it's secure.
How long would it take that to dry out?
Oh, I don't know, an hour.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
I mean, that's really good. It would probably dry so it wouldn't slip in shorter time than that. But then when you want to put them on wires, to make sure that the wires hold, you want to crook it. So you're making a little bit of a loop. Okay. And you can see they dry hard.
This is for your bouquet that goes on the top in the spike.
And then you just put some royal icing there.
Okay.
And make sure the loop is covered.
You're putting quite a bit of royal icing. And
well, I want it to be sturdy.
Okay. And overnight, that needs to set up to dry.
Yeah,
before you try to shape your
it wouldn't
bouquet.
need to set up too long, but you want to make sure it's nice and solid. Now, to cover your cake, you've done all of this ahead of time, and then you're getting ready to cover your cake. I rolled the fondant out, and I'm going to cover just a little custard cup.
Okay. This is just a demo. This is a demo.
And when you pick it up, and you basically just kind of shape it down.
Okay.
And you're going to cut off the excess. And this is a little, you can lift it and kind of pull it down. My fondant's drying out just a little bit under the lights.
And you do keep your fondant covered until the last minute.
Yes, you do.
When you actually are going to work with it because it will dry.
But I'm having a little bit of trouble because it is a little dry.
And this is an embossing wheel.
That's an embossing wheel. But if it comes together like that, you can actually pull it up and pinch it together.
In the heat of your hand.
In the heat of your hand, and rubbing like that will actually pull it together. But let me finish cutting some of this off. You want to cut a little bit off, and then you're going to tuck it in under.
And when you actually do it on your real cake, you can measure ahead of time just to get a better idea with like a mat that has the measuring grid on it that will give you an idea as far as a circle.
Okay, now I've gotten rid of part of that. I didn't finish it off really well. But what you also have, you want to make sure when you're measuring it, you measure up, across, and down. So that you have more than enough to get the full measurements. Okay, now here is a tracing wheel tool. If you have, I have an air pocket here. I'm glad I got an air pocket. You just take a pin and you
can
stick it in, and then you can press it down so you get rid of your air pocket.
And there's actually a fondant smoother also that you can buy that will help you get that perfect look.
But this little tool also has, it's kind of like the old sewing wheel that my mother used to use.
Right.
And you can make a pattern if you want, like this. You can use a ruler. I kind of like to do it freehand, where you're just doing your
You're brave, right?
Yeah. I'm kind
Living
of more
on the edge.
and just doing your marks like that and then coming back and joining them.
And it gives
like
you that quilting look.
Yeah, you have that quilted look.
Okay. There you go.
So you can see that's how you get it, and then
and
you
the
know,
finished
do it.
product. Here it is with the quilted
Here
look.
it is on this cake. Now, when you're putting your cake together, you want to make sure it's stable. Remember, this is a two-tiered cake,
Right.
so you want to mark around your cake what the size of the next layer is going to be, and then you're going to put dowel rods in it because that's actually the structural support for the cake.
And if you have to transport it, it's always good. That, you know, if you go to
Absolutely.
all that work.
So you want to put the dowel rod here next to the cake and actually mark it just a little bit below.
Okay.
And then cut it with a serrated knife. Now, because it sounds like you're sawing, I'm not going to do it. I've already pre-cut some.
cut.
And then you just stick it into your cake and push it down.
And that's going to anchor it.
That's going to anchor it. And then we've got this on a cake board, this smaller layer, and you're going to lift it up with an angled spatula. And you can touch the fondant, and you can just put it down. You can put some royal icing down there, you know, to still
And the
further
dowel
kind of hold
rods
it.
actually keep the base of the cake sturdy. Is that what? It keeps it in place and sturdy? Okay.
So that it doesn't sink in the center because the cake is a little bit
weight
heavy.
of it, okay.
And you can also put your flower spike in. Probably should have put that in before I put this on top, but that's okay. It works out. So there you've got your two layers.
Oh,
So you see how simple that is? So structurally you're sound, and it looks attractive because you've got the two layers.
Now you did the quilting earlier. This also, if the camera picks it up, it has little beads on it in between your cross hatches where you're meeting.
And that's what we're going to do now. And to do a bead
Is
or
this
a ball,
buttercream or is this
This is
royal?
buttercream.
This is buttercream.
You could use royal if you wanted to, but I'm just using buttercream. So I'm just squeezing and I'm
and releasing.
letting it building up
And what tip
and
is
releasing.
this that you're using? I'm sorry.
Number 4.
Number 4, so it's just a round. You know, with this quilted look, it would be pretty for your table centerpiece to use your ribbons, some woven ribbons, and cross them underneath your centerpieces. It would be really nice.
Okay, now I'm doing like a bead. So I'm doing the ball, but I'm doing it off at a 45-degree angle.
With
and
the
just
same tip?
with the same tip and just letting it build up, and then you'll have a little bit of a tail, so you're covering up where your cake board is.
And it also helps attach, kind of secure this to the
And
top.
so you just go around doing that.
Okay. And you could do the fondant cake the night before or a day before.
Oh, you could, because you put a layer of buttercream underneath. I forgot to tell you that when I was putting it over there, and that helps kind of seal it in, and then the fondant helps seal it. So you can do this, you know, a day or two in advance. I wouldn't do it too much more than 2 days in advance.
Okay.
But then, you know, you would finish around with your bead border, and then these flowers you've pre-done, you just put those in your spike.
And you could do fresh flowers and a water spike if you needed to, if you didn't have time to do this.
You can also get a bowl that you could put some fresh flowers in if you wanted, just depending upon the look that you wanted.
And you could also match up your invitations for the shower, baby shower. We hope that we've inspired you, so give it a try.